In the neon-soaked blur of a Chicago night, Alex Harper thought he'd snagged the last train home after a wild bender downtown. Dude was hammered, barely keeping it together as he sprinted through the deserted station. But he didn't know this wasn't just any L train. It was a one-way ticket to face the ghosts of his shady past. The Midnight Express didn't just roll through the windy city, it barreled straight into a nightmare realm where every stop tested your soul. And for Alex, redemption was going to cost more than a swipe of his CTA card, one passenger at a time. Alex was no saint, but he never thought of himself as a bad guy. A corporate shark in his late 30s, he'd spent years hustling in Chicago's cutthroat finance scene, clawing his way up by any means necessary. Backstabbing colleagues, fudging numbers, and living that work hard, party harder vibe was just part of the game. That night, he'd been out at a swanky River North bar, tossing back craft beers and whiskey shots with the boys, living large until the clock pushed past midnight. Stumbling through the empty Clark Lake station, Alex barely registered the creepy vibe. The ticket booth guy looked like he hadn't blinked since the Cubs last won the series, handing over a paper ticket with a stare that gave Alex the heebie-jeebies. No time to overthink it, though. He bolted down the platform, dodging a spilled Slurpee, and dove into the train just as the doors snapped shut. Collapsing onto a worn vinyl seat, he grinned, thinking he'd cheated fate. The train's whistle screeched, and the carriage lurched forward, rattling out of the station into the dark. Exhausted from the booze and the sprint, Alex loosened his tie, wiped the sweat off his brow, and fought to stay awake. Missing his stop in Wicker Park would suck, but the whiskey was winning. His eyelids drooped, and he was out cold, slipping into a dream that felt way too real. In it, he saw his ex-wife, Lauren, trapped in a shadowy void, her face twisted in pain. Then he was running through an empty train, pounding on locked doors, screaming for help that never came. The nightmare left him chilled, like someone had cranked the AC to Arctic levels. He snapped awake, gasping, heart jackhammering in his chest. The train's harsh fluorescent lights buzzed overhead, and he scanned the carriage, relieved it was just a bad dream. But something was off. Outside the windows, Chicago's skyline was gone. No streetlights, no high-rises, just pitch-black nothing. The train was speeding through a void, and Alex's gut told him this wasn't the red line. Shaking off the fog, Alex staggered down the aisle, hoping to find a conductor or at least a map. The carriage was standard CTA, blue seats, scuffed floors, ads for personal injury lawyers, but it was dead empty. No late-night drunks, no tired nurses heading home, just the hum of the engine and the clack of wheels on tracks. He glanced out the window again, and his stomach dropped. The city outside wasn't just dark, it was wrong. Crumbling buildings overgrown with weeds loomed like skeletons of a Chicago that never was. No cars, no people, just ruins stretching into the distance. "Dude, what the actual hell?" Alex muttered, his breath fogging the glass. This wasn't a power outage. This was some post-apocalyptic nightmare. His phone? No bars, no Wi-Fi, no nothing. Panic crept in, but he pushed it down, heading for the door to the next carriage. He needed answers, or at least someone to share the freak-out with. That's when he met Mia. She was in the next carriage, a sharp-dressed woman in her early 30s, rocking a navy blazer and pencil skirt like she'd just left a Loop law firm. Her dark hair was pulled back, but her mascara was smudged, like she'd been crying. She jumped up when Alex barged in, clutching her purse like a weapon. "Whoa, whoa, chill." Alex raised his hands. "I'm Alex, just a dude trying to figure out what's going on. You okay?" Mia's eyes narrowed, but she relaxed a bit. "Mia, I was heading home from a client dinner, caught this train, and I don't know, man, I nodded off, and now it's like we're in some zombie flick." She glanced out the window, shuddering at the decayed cityscape. "You seeing this crap too?" "Yeah, it's messed up," Alex said, nodding. "I thought it was just me tripping. Let's find someone who knows what's what." Together they moved through the train, finding 3 more passengers, each as confused as they were. There was Jamal, a wiry, high-strung guy in his 40s, pacing like he was about to lose it. He was all tatted up, rocking a faded bull's jacket, and muttering about whoever's pulling this stunt getting a beat down. Then there was Chloe, a 20-something influencer type with perfect nails and a designer tracksuit, acting like she was too good for this nightmare. Last was Ryan, a chill, stocky dude with a buzz cut and a vibe that screamed ex-cop or bouncer, calm under pressure but ready to throw down if needed. The 5 of them were a mixed bag, but they were stuck together on this haunted CTA ride. No conductor, no driver, no way to stop the train. They tried the emergency brake. Nada. Jamal even grabbed the glass breaker hammer, ready to smash a window, but before he could swing, a voice crackled through the overhead speakers. "Yo, put the hammer down, my man. We don't do vandalism on this ride." The voice was smooth, polite, but creepy as hell, like a radio DJ with a dark secret. Everyone froze, staring at the speaker. Jamal lowered a hammer, spooked. "Who's this?" Chloe snapped, hands on hips. "And where you at, huh?" The voice chuckled. "I'm the conductor, y'all. This is the Midnight Express, my domain. I'm always here watching, even if you can't see me." Alex felt a chill crawl up his spine. "Why'd you drag us here, man? What's the deal?" "I didn't drag nobody," the conductor said, his tone almost amused. "Y'all bought your tickets, hopped on board, didn't read the fine print, did you? Everyone here's got a reason to be. This ain't no joyride, it's a test. You're safe in these carriages, but the journey's gonna push you to your limits. Pass the tests, and you might just make it home." "What tests?" Ryan asked, his voice steady but tense. "All in good time," the conductor said. "For now, get some rest. Don't stare out the windows too long. It'll mess with your head. Night, folks." The speakers went dead, and no amount of yelling got the conductor back. The group huddled in the middle carriage, swapping wild theories. Government experiment, alien abduction, some twisted reality show. Alex couldn't shake the feeling this was personal, like the train knew their secrets. He pulled out his ticket, flipping it over to find a handwritten note. "A liar's tongue will burn, and a cheater's heart won't rest." His blood ran cold. The words hit too close to home, dredging up memories of deals he'd screwed over and the wife he'd betrayed. He glanced at the others, clutching their own tickets, faces pale. Whatever was on those slips, it wasn't good. The first night was rough. Nobody slept much, too wired from the creepy vibes in the endless dark outside. The ruined city gave way to a dense forest, trees towering like silent giants. Every now and then, Alex caught glimpses of something moving between the trunks, big, shadowy shapes with glowing eyes that made his skin crawl. He tried to follow the conductor's advice, keeping his eyes off the windows, but it was like trying not to look at a car wreck. By morning, the forest stretched on, endless and eerie, under a gray sky. Ryan, the calm one, did some quick math. We've been moving at like 60 miles an hour for 10 hours straight. Should have hit Lake Michigan by now, but this ain't Earth's map. Alex's stomach churned. You saying we're in some other dimension or some crap? Feels like it, Ryan said, staring out at the trees. This place ain't right. The day dragged on, the forest giving way to desolate plains dotted with crumbling shacks. Every few miles they passed a lonely platform, no station in sight. At one a figure stood, an old woman in a tattered red coat, her face wrinkled like crumpled paper. She didn't move, just stared with a creepy smirk as the train roared by. They called her the Crone, and she showed up again and again, sometimes waving, sometimes screaming, silent curses. As dusk fell, a new figure appeared on a platform, a tall dude in a black hoodie, face hidden, holding a leash to a massive white dog that looked more like a freaking dire wolf. Its eyes glowed red, and it barked like it wanted to rip their throats out. They dubbed it the Reaper and his Hellhound, and each sighting cranked up the group's paranoia. The conductor's voice broke the tension at nightfall. First, stop coming up, folks. Step off the platform, grab some grub from the vending machines, and wait for my word. Don't wander off. It ain't safe out there. The train slowed, stopping at a dimly lit platform. The doors hissed open, and a cold wind hit them, carrying a stench like rotting meat. At the platform's end, 2 vending machines glowed, stocked with snacks and drinks. Hunger gnawed at Alex's gut. They'd been sipping tap water from a bathroom sink, but food was scarce. Nah, this is a trap, Chloe said, crossing her arms. I ain't stepping out there. We need food, Ryan countered, and this dude's calling the shots. We play along for now. Reluctantly, they stepped off, the platform's concrete cold under their feet. They raided the vending machines, stuffing their pockets with chips and candy bars. Alex grabbed a couple of Cokes, the familiar logo weirdly comforting in this hellhole. They waited, eyes darting to the dark woods beyond, expecting something to jump out. Jamal, twitchy as ever, snapped, "Screw this! I ain't waiting for some ghost voice to tell me what's next. I'm out." "Jamal, don't!" Mia yelled, but he was already sprinting off the platform into the trees. They didn't see what got him, but they heard it. A guttural growl, then Jamal's screams, raw and desperate. Bushes rustled, bones snapped, and then silence, broken only by the sound of something heavy being dragged away. Alex's knees buckled, and Chloe let out a sob. The conductor's voice crackled through the platform speakers. "Test 1's done. Back on the train now." They scrambled aboard, hearts pounding, the door slamming shut as the train lurched forward, only 4 of them left. "Poor bastard," Ryan muttered. "What'd he do to deserve that?" The conductor answered, unprompted. "Jamal ran from his problems in life, ditched his family, skipped out on debts. Running was his thing. He had a choice, and he chose wrong. The second day was a slog, the planes outside rolling by under a grim sky. The crone kept showing up, her screams louder, her eyes burning with hate. The Reaper and his hellhound were there too, the dog's muzzle now stained with what looked like fresh blood. Alex stopped looking out the windows, but the guilt from his ticket's message gnawed at him. The group split up, too shaken to stick together. Alex and Mia stayed close, finding comfort in each other's company. They talked about their lives, her law school grind, his corporate hustle, avoiding the heavy stuff. Chloe and Ryan paired up, while Jamal's absence left a heavy silence. The fifth passenger, a quiet dude named Ethan, kept to himself, staring out the windows like he was hypnotized. At dusk, the conductor's voice returned, sounding tired. "Next stop, Union House. You'll find 5 doors, each with your name. Step inside and face your past. Pass this test, and you're 1 step closer to home." The train stopped at a creepy old building, its brick facade like something out of a forgotten Chicago suburb. Inside, the lobby was dim, the air thick with dust. 5 wooden doors lined the far wall, each scrawled with a name in red chalk: Alex, Mia, Ryan, Chloe, Ethan. No one spoke. It was like the doors were pulling them in, an invisible force they couldn't fight. Alex's hand shook as he opened his door, stepping into a void that wasn't a room, but a memory. He was back in his old life, reliving the good times. His first date with Lauren at Navy Pier, her laugh as they rode the Ferris wheel, their wedding in a Gold Coast church, her white dress glowing under stained glass. But then the memories turned sour. Late nights at the office, neglecting Lauren, the affair with a coworker, stolen kisses at a company retreat. Lauren's face when she found out, her heart shattered. Her spiral after the divorce, booze, pills, a hospital stay. Alex had ignored it all, too busy chasing the next deal. Now he saw her pain, raw and unfiltered, and it crushed him. He stumbled back into the lobby, tears streaming down his face. Mia and Ryan were there, looking just as broken. Ethan stood silently, but Chloe's door was still shut. A scream tore through the air, Chloe begging for help. Ryan kicked the door down, revealing a nightmare. A red vortex swirled against the wall, a clawed, shadowy arm dragging Chloe toward it. Her eyes were wide with terror as she clawed at the floor. Ryan lunged, grabbing her hand, but the thing was too strong. It yanked her into the vortex, and she was gone, the portal vanishing like it never existed. Back on the train, the conductor's voice was cold. 4 of you left. Chloe didn't feel remorse for her sins. Marrying for money, no love, no guilt. That's why she failed. Alex's head spun. Was this some kind of twisted judgment? He turned to the others. We gotta come clean. Those rooms showed us our worst moments. If we share, maybe we can figure this out. He spilled his guts about the affair, the divorce, Lauren's breakdown. Mia hesitated, then confessed. I was texting while driving, ran a red light in Lincoln Park, hit a woman's car. She's paralyzed now, and I got off with a slap on her wrist. I can't shake the guilt. Ryan went next, his voice cracking. I was a cop, working a gang bust in Englewood. Got a tip about a dealer, raided his place, saw a shadow move, fired my gun. It was a kid, unarmed, just a scared teenager. They swept it under the rug, but I quit the force. That kid's face haunts me. Ethan just stared out the window, ignoring Alex's pleas to open up. I know what I gotta do, he muttered, walking off to another carriage. The third day was brutal. Rain pounded the train, and the crone was gone. But the Reaper loomed larger, his hellhound snarling through the downpour. Worse, new voices echoed through the carriages, Jamal and Chloe screaming from some unseen torment. Sometimes they'd whisper, calling Alex by name, saying they'd see him soon. It was enough to make anyone lose it. By dusk, the group huddled together, even Ethan shaken by the voices. The conductor's voice cut through the storm. Final stop, Grand Terminus in the Dark City. This is where the Midnight Express ends. Grab your stuff and get ready to disembark. The train rolled into a bleak station. all concrete and flickering lights, like a dystopian version of Union Station. The doors opened, and the rain-soaked platform waited. No one moved at first, haunted by what happened every time they stepped off, but the conductor's final words pushed them forward. Head to Nexus Station across the city for your connecting train. Follow the signs, watch your back, and good luck. They stepped onto the platform, the train pulling away with a final screech. The station was a ghost town. No ticket booths, no commuters, just a sign pointing to Nexus Station. Ryan took charge. We need weapons, anything to defend ourselves. Ethan found a knife in a deserted food court, and they started toward the exit. But before Ryan could finish his plan, Ethan moved like lightning, plunging the knife into Ryan's back. Ryan gasped, collapsing in a pool of blood as Ethan turned, eyes wild. My ticket said it. Kill the sinners, and I'm free. Alex grabbed Mia's hand, and they bolted out of the station, Ethan hot on their heels. The dark city was a maze of brutalist towers and empty streets, rain blurring their vision. Signs pointed to Nexus Station, their only hope. They ran for what felt like miles, lungs burning, fear driving them forward. At a dead-end alley, Nexus Station's glowing sign appeared. Mia slipped in the mud, and Alex helped her up, thinking they'd lost Ethan. But he was there, charging with the knife raised. Alex stepped in front, ready to fight, but Ethan slashed Mia's arm, blood mixing with the rain. Alex tackled him, landing a punch that sent Ethan reeling. Before Ethan could recover, a white blur shot from the shadows. The hellhound, jaws snapping. It tore into Ethan, his screams echoing as the beast dragged him away. Alex spotted the Reaper watching from the street's end, his gaze chilling but unmoving. He'd save them, but not out of kindness. Alex helped Mia into Nexus Station, finding 2 tickets on an unmanned counter. They stumbled to a waiting train, its doors open. The hellhound's barking closed in, and Alex pushed Mia aboard just as the door shut. The beast tackled him, claws raking his chest. Desperate, he stabbed it with Ethan's knife, driving it back. The train was moving, Mia's tearful face pressed against the window. Alex limped to the opposite platform, where another train pulled in, its doors open. He boarded, collapsing onto a seat as it sped away from the dark city. Through the window, he saw the Reaper's eyeless stare fading into the rain. The train jolted forward, sparks flashing outside the windows. Alex gripped the edge of his seat, a cold truth sinking into him. He and Mia were the last 2, and on this ride, only one would survive. He leaned toward her, his voice low, almost gentle. You know what this train's about, Mia? It's about sins, and yours. Yours was heavy. You hit that woman on her way to her husband's funeral. You ruined her life. Maybe this is where you make it right. Mia's hands tightened around her ticket, her lips trembling. I never meant to. It was a mistake. Alex's gaze hardened, his tone cutting. We all make mistakes, but yours took more than one life that night. Maybe this train was always meant for you. Her head dropped, tears dripping onto the floor. Maybe you're right. The lights flickered. A shadow crawled down the carriage, stretching closer with every pulse. Alex let out a shaky sigh of relief until the shadow passed Mia and wrapped around him. No, not me! His voice broke as a fiery portal tore open, flames licking at the seats. Black hands gripped his arms, dragging him backward. She's worse. She killed someone. I just cheated. Mia froze, stunned, as Alex fought against the fire. Then the conductor appeared, not a voice, but a man in the flesh, Old, pale, dressed in a 1930s uniform, brass buttons gleaming, a smile far too wide to be human. "Cheating wasn't your sin, Alex," the conductor said softly. "When your wife confronted you, you snapped. You pushed her so hard her skull struck the floor, and you covered it up, lied to the cops, buried the truth. That's no mistake." His smile sharpened. "That's murder." Alex's screams vanished into the flames as the portal sealed shut. Mia trembled, tears sliding down her face. "All this time, I thought it was me." The conductor tipped his cap, his voice low and certain. "Your confession was real. That's why you walk free. Go home, Mia." The doors hissed open to a glowing platform. Mia rose on shaking legs and stepped out. Behind her, the train shrieked and rolled back into the dark, and the conductor's voice lingered, calm and cold. "Plenty more sinners to collect